So I want you to think of your favorite movie. Do you have it in your mind? Now I want you to think, what made me fall in love with that movie? In my case, it's Transformers. The ability to do all that VFX in 2007 when machines were not as strong as what we have now. The story was something that I always had in my mind and I'd read when I was younger. All those things were created by people, right? The heart, the soul behind Optimus Prime and all those things. It was people. And that's the thing I don't think AI can replicate. But nevertheless, I think there are certain things in the storytelling and filmmaking journey that AI is going to replace or help make better or faster. And we're going to be looking at one today. Welcome to today's segment of the storytelling journey that we are on in 2026, and today we're talking about scripting and storyboarding. When it comes to writing stories, I truly believe that the human heart and soul is at the heart of the greatest stories ever known and told to man. But what I actually believe is there are certain processes that AI is going to help improve or make faster, or something you may not have been able to do to a certain degree, AI will help you with. Now, storyboarding is something that's very critical to the filmmaking process. It helps a director, crew to translate the script into actual frames, an idea of what the movie will look like. Now, I think the first time I used a storyboard was when I was shooting a commercial for a school, and what I realized that one, it made shooting easy because everybody knew what shot we were looking for. I remember that day I had to go somewhere else and I left the crew shooting, but they were able to get what exactly I needed to create the edit in post-production because of a storyboard. And the funny thing is, I think I wrote it down in just a normal notebook, so it was a normal sketch, nothing too crazy, and it was able to be pulled off. Now, in the story that I want to create, because we're going to be creating certain stories every month, so for that process I also wanted to include storyboarding, but I wanted to be able to create a storyboard without having to do it all on my own, something that's a bit quicker. And I think I found a solution that we're going to be looking at. But one critical thing we shouldn't forget is that the scripting and the story, that is something only a human being can actually bring out with a certain soul, and I believe that is the key thing there. So even when we're going to be looking at the storyboarding here, the script, I fed the AI the script, meaning it came from me. It may help me, AI may help me improve it, but I feel like if the script comes from AI, it may not have that soul, it may be soulless. When you watch a Christopher Nolan movie, you see what Christopher Nolan is about. When you watch a Matt Reeves movie like The Batman, you see the heart and care. Vengeance. The greatness of filmmaking, that's the greatness of the movies we watch. So don't lose that when you're making your films or storytelling. Keep it coming from you. There is something inside you that must come out. AI will help us improve it or will help us make it a bit faster, but it always must start with you. This AI that we're going to be looking at is called Storyboarder.ai. Just to give you a short understanding of what we're going to be creating, over the next 2 months we're going to be creating, I think, 2 shorts that are sort of part 1 and part 2. It's the same script and I'm looking at creating, and so I fed it into storyboarder.ai what I wanted to create. As you can see here, I wrote the whole script in terms of what I gave it a background of what the story is actually about. Then I went into the scene. When you're creating prompts for the AI, it's important to give it as much detail as you can so that it understands what you're trying to create. As we will see later on, there are certain things I did not give it, so it created the storyboard in a certain generic way that I think if I had actually added those details, it would have been a little bit better. Here we have the opportunity to download the template. It gives you a template, which is a very good thing for you to input your scenes. Now, this is where you start writing your shortlist. Shortlists are something we'll look at later on in this story making process, but when you're making your storyboard, it's usually best to also understand what a shortlist is. If you want to understand what a shortlist is, before we get there, you can go to Studio Binder. It's a very beautiful YouTube page with a lot of filmmaking tips that will help you along this journey. When I've gotten the shortlist, I've put in what we're shooting. So for example, for our scene here that we're going to be shooting, it's an outdoor scene, 2 people in a car. Basically, one is reading a newspaper, one is sleeping. So I put in all that information in the short descriptions, what lenses I think we'll be using, will it have movement, blah blah blah, all that. is in the shortlist. We'll look at it, or again, you can look at it at Studio Binder. So the next step is to actually understand, how do you want to create your storyboard? Do you want it to be artistic? Do you want it to be realistic? What type of genre of movie it is? So the first thing here we looked at was genre. The genre I'm looking at here for this commercial stroke short film is a mystery. It's gonna be we're solving a crime. Yeah, I don't know why we always like starting with crime, but yeah, we're solving a crime. So mystery is what I chose, and then it asks you for the aspect ratio you're going to be shooting in, and then also what type of style do you want to create your storyboard in. Now, I could have gone with a sketch, which is really nice, but I wanted to get something cinematic in that I wanted to understand what lighting will be motivated. For example, again, the storyboard is seen by the cinematographer, it's seen by the lighting technicians. So when they are able to see and visualize what you're trying to bring to life, it's easier for them to help you out. So I decided to go with cinematic. So again, like, when you're ready, you say generate and you move forward. When you move forward, it starts to generate each of the shots you wrote in that shortlist. So it's very important for you to get the shortlist right. So here it says create. So here is where I started to see I maybe should have given it a bit more detail, because as you can see, the police officers or the characters in my scene are white when actually they're gonna be black, right? So it's not a big deal really, but if I wanted to create it to be more specific to the actors that we're looking at, then there I should have added a bit more character definition. But it pretty much gave me everything I actually needed first time try. Now obviously when you look at shot 4 and 5, I wanted the people to still be in the car, and here you can see they moved out, but it has the option of what we call variation. So when you go to variation, you're able to give it a new prompt, something that will help it correct it, and then when you do that, you create the variation, you say generate variation, and it does. And when it brought the second variation, it actually was better. So I did this in a matter of maybe 10-20 minutes, and that is very easy. Usually I've used certain script writing and storyboarding tools where you have to go get the images or search for them. There are different websites where you can get references, but that may take a bit of time. So when something is able to be generated from scratch in a short time, it just makes the whole process a bit easier. So this is basically the first scene in this short film we're going to be creating, and I'm using AI to help me do the process and make it faster. Obviously right now I'm the only one in the process. When it comes to the shooting, we'll have more people, but being able to have an assistant on your laptop, quick and easy to change things, is very important, and it makes the whole process easier. So AI is not necessarily a bad thing, but if we understand how to use it properly, if we understand how to actually write prompts, they call it prompt engineering, right? You'll be able to generate the ideas that you want. You may even be able to generate things you were not able to generate before. But there it is, storyboarder.ai. You could try it out. You could try the pricing ones. This is not sponsored by them. I don't know them, they don't know me, but I think it's a great tool that will help you as a filmmaker be able to storyboard. The next step for me ideally is to make this a reality. So maybe I will bring you along for that ride. I don't know if that will be the next video in this process, but hey, we looked at storyboarding today. Hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you can be able to implement this in your next video. So I'll see you in the next one, and always remember to deliver a feeling. Peace.